How to optimize your hormones. Your hormones have a massive, and I mean massive, effect on your happiness and effectiveness in life as a man, hands down. And one of the major reasons why so many men today have low energy, or are angry all the time, or depressed all the time, or aren't motivated, or have all these other emotional, quote, emotional problems is because their hormones are fucked up and they haven't taken the time to optimize these. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to optimize your hormones and do so without having to go on any sort of TRT or testosterone replacement therapy, which is what I do. Now, I do all of these things I'm going to talk about in this video as well as TRT, but TRT is a separate topic I've talked about in other videos. For this video, I'm going to show you exactly what to do to optimize your hormones without having to do anything weird or scary like needles with TRT. When your hormones are optimized, you receive the following benefits. You have more focus and can stay focused better on your work and projects. You will be happier. You will be smiling and joking and having a better sense of happiness throughout the day. You will be less touchy and less reactive when things happen or people say things you don't like. Instead of immediately getting angry and pissed off, you'll be like, whatever, and just move on. You will have much better sleep. You will fall asleep more early. You will stay asleep more often throughout the evening. You will be more rested when you wake up in the morning. You will have better sex. Your dick will work much better. Your body will work much better. And the enjoyment of sex will actually be higher because sex will actually feel better to you. Literally, you will have increased endurance whenever you are exercising, sex included. But whenever you're working out or just walking around, you will just maintain physical activity longer without getting tired. You will get increased muscle mass from when you lift weights or do any resistance training. Your muscles will get bigger, faster, and stay bigger more easily when your hormonal panel is optimized. And lastly, you will live longer. Period. End of story. You will live longer when you have optimum hormones because your blood will be optimized, your lipid panels will improve, you'll have less health problems as you age, you won't be going to the doctor nearly as often, especially as you age, if you manage your hormones. In other words, managing your hormones is a win, 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 win across the board. It is insane today that men don't bother doing this because it is so important. Here now are the 6 steps that you need to use to optimize your hormones so you can get all these benefits. Step number 1, and this should be nothing new if you're familiar with my content. At least once a year, you should go in for a blood test and you should check the following 4 hormones. Number 1, testosterone. That is both free testosterone and total testosterone. Those are 2 different numbers. Number 2, estradiol, which measures the amount of estrogen in your system. Men need some estrogen, not too much, but you need some. Next, you need to test your thyroid, and that is specifically T3. Now, on some blood tests, you'll get T3, T4, and TSH. T4 and TSH are less important. They're okay to know. It doesn't hurt to know these things, but T3 is the most important number. Lastly, you need to check vitamin D. Vitamin D is actually not a vitamin in your body. It's actually a hormone. And so you need to make sure that your vitamin D levels are optimized. You need to check these levels once every year at least. I check them at least once every 8 months or so. If any of these levels are off, if your testosterone is too low, if your estradiol is too low or too high, if your thyroid is too low or too high, or if your vitamin D levels are too low, you're going to have problems and you're going to have negative symptoms about being tired or pissed off or having horrible sex or horrible sleep or what have you. You need to make sure that these levels are optimized, and that means you need to know what they are. So you should take these tests at least once a year, show them to a doctor you trust, and work with that doctor to make sure these levels are in the correct ranges. I would bet you $1 billion that if you have never checked these levels, and you are a typical guy living in the Western world, these levels are off. And I don't care how old you are. We now have an epidemic of young men in their 20s with testosterone, total testosterone levels lower than 300, which is absolutely insane. My total testosterone is around 1100, equivalent to a healthy 18-year-old, and I'm 50. This is one of the many reasons why I have more energy and can run circles in terms of daily energy over men who are half my age, because these men have fucked up hormones and my hormone panels are optimized. Now, there are some other things you should check on your regular blood tests. However, they are beyond the scope of this video. Perhaps I will do another video or podcast at some point going over all the things you should check in your blood test. If that is of interest, please leave a comment on this video and let me know, and I can certainly talk about that in future videos or certain podcasts. By the way, I do several videos here a week on how to be a more happy, free, location-independent, sexually independent man, dating multiple women without cheating, location-independent income, optimizing your lifestyle, optimizing your freedom, optimizing your happiness. If that is of interest to you, you should subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell, leave a comment on this video, and put a like on this video, and that way you'll be sure to get this content for free in the future. Item number 2, do everything I talked about in the Optimize Body video. If you want to click that video, it's right up there. I recently did a video on how to optimize your body for maximum productivity. Do all of the things I said in that video. That alone will help balance out your hormonal panel. If you're only getting 5 hours of sleep a night, if you're not drinking enough water, if you're never exercising, I promise you that your testosterone, estradiol, and possibly even your thyroid and vitamin D levels are all screwed up. You need to do all the things I talked about in that video, and that alone will help a lot of this. Frankly, that should be the very first thing you do once you get these tests taken. Often you can get the tests taken, look at the levels, see how bad they are, make some changes in your lifestyle based on that other video I did, and then check them again in 3 months and you'll see them improve. Happens all the time. Here's an easy one I've mentioned before. If all you do is start lifting heavy weights, low reps, high weight, and you start doing that 3 times a week, you'll jack up your total testosterone 200, 300, maybe even 400 points just by doing that alone. So that's very important. Do those things I talked about in that last video. Speaking of lifting weights, number 3, the third thing you should do to maximize your hormonal panel as a man is focus not only on exercises, but high intensity exercises. So there's a concept called high intensity training, or HIIT, or HIIT training, where you are training at high intensity. So you're lifting a lot of weight with low reps. If you're doing cardio, you're doing sprinting type cardio, where instead of steady state cardio, where you're sitting on a treadmill for 20 minutes or a half an hour, what have you, you instead walk for 30 seconds and then you run as fast as you can for 30 seconds. Then maybe walk for a minute or slow down for a minute and then run as fast as you possibly can for 30 seconds. Sprinting, get your heart rate up. Get your muscles sore and hurting a little bit. High intensity exercise will help balance out your hormonal panel. It's very good for you. There's all kinds of health benefits to doing this, and I strongly recommend it. Now, I don't want to get into a big debate about this, and I'm not going to get into this debate because there's big debates about this in the fitness world. Does that mean that steady state cardio or lifting high reps when you lift weights is bad? No, that is still very healthy. That is still very good. That will still make a very big change. A lot of guys, including really fat guys or really unhealthy guys, if they just walked, they went on a half an hour walk, they just walked for a half an hour a day, would improve their hormonal panels. So those are still of value as well. But I'm saying if you really want to optimize this stuff and you really want to feel good and be an effective man, high intensity exercise. And my model is you exercise hard once every 48 hours. Hard means high intensity. That's what that means. That's why I say exercise hard. Not just exercise hard. I'm in the gym 4 days a week, plus cardio 2 days a week, then I take a day off. And when I'm in the gym, I am working, really hard. I am trashed at the end of my workouts, and I'm a little sore the next day, a little bit, after most of my workouts because I'm working out hard. And my hormonal panels are fucking perfect. Number 4, and this is the fun one, although perhaps controversial one, have more sex. If you have more sex, it balances out or helps balance out your testosterone, estradiol, all these things. Yes, just having sex, more than just masturbating, having real sex with real women will actually help these things. The scientific data on this is very, very clear. I have a lot of content here at Alpha Male 2.0, books, blogs, videos on how to improve your dating life, how to date multiple women at the same time, how to date younger women if you're an older guy. Do those things. One of the biggest reasons that so many guys have low T today is because they're not getting laid. The Gen Z and millennial generations are having the least amount of sex that we've ever seen in a generation in modern human history. No wonder their testosterone sucks and their estrogen is too high or too low because they're not getting laid. By the way, and I've mentioned this before, it's not just having sex, it's sex with attractive women, women you find hot, women who are younger than you in most cases. I've mentioned this study before. I've mentioned many of these studies. They took a bunch of old men with low testosterone. They put them in a room, they checked their testosterone at their blood levels, and they had a really smoking hot 22-year-old girl sit down across the table and talk to them for 20 minutes. They didn't touch each other. They just talked. That's it. And when the smoking hot girl left, they checked the guy's testosterone again, and it went up by 17%. Now, that didn't happen when they brought in some fat older women who was their age. It makes a difference how attractive these women are. Many guys who suffer from, quote, ED are guys who have old or overweight or ugly to them girlfriends or wives. Of course, the old joke was back in the 1990s. You had Bob Dole, for those of you who know who he is. He did a bunch of commercials for Viagra talking about ED. And the joke back then was, well, yeah, of course, Bob Dole has problems with ED. Have you seen his wife? Have you seen what Elizabeth Dole looks like? If you were married to her, you'd probably have ED too. Here's a picture of my wife. Do you think I have any problem whatsoever with ED in my life when I'm having sex with women who look like this? Probably not. Matter of fact, I can tell you definitely not. So it's not just about having sex. It's about having sex with women you find physically attractive. And I don't care what your excuses are. Well, Caleb, I'm married. Well, Caleb, I'm old. I'm married and I'm pretty old and I don't have that problem. I live an alpha tupido non-monogamous lifestyle. My wife is smoking hot. My FBs on the side are all smoking hot. I have a lot of sex with a lot of women who are really hot. One of the many reasons why my hormonal panel is very strong. Next one, number 5. This is one a lot of you guys aren't going to want to do, but this is a big component of this, is manage your stress. Stress creates cortisol and a bunch of other negative hormones in your body that screw up your testosterone, estradiol, thyroid, and vitamin D. When you are stressed out and pissed off all the time, you will have problems with your hormones. So you need to do whatever you need to do to get your stress down. If that's get more sleep, get more sleep. If that's meditate, I meditate about 5 days a week, 20 minutes long. Meditation will help if you're a reactive, angry, pissy guy. Meditate. If you need to take more breaks during work, if you do whatever you need to do to control your stress. I have a video coming up in this series on how to optimize your mind for maximum productivity, and I will cover some of that in that video. Matter of fact, depending on when you watch this video, that video may already be available here at this channel. But do whatever you need to do to reduce your stress. Calm down, deep breaths, manage your stress. If you do all these other techniques of raising your testosterone and improving your hormonal panels, but you're mad all the time or stressed all the time, it's not going to work. I'm sorry, it's not. You got to be a happy guy. Work on this. And again, no excuses. Stress is something you can manage and control. I don't care what your personality is. Well, Caleb, I have a big temper, just how I am. Well, I'm a stressy person, that's just how I am. I don't give a fuck. These are beta male bullshit excuses. You can improve these things. Number 6, last one, and this is the one that I have had the most trouble with throughout my life, including right now, although I've gotten better and better as I've got older. Keep your body fat as low as you possibly can. Now, you may be thinking, well, how could you be saying that, Caleb? Well, I've mentioned this before. I come from a very fat family. I have a sister who is so overweight, she can barely walk upstairs. She is more than 350 pounds, probably more than 400 pounds. And that's the genetics I came from. I have a lot of very, very fat people in my family. I'm one of the least fat people in my family, even though I'm still overweight. And I've also lost a lot of weight throughout the last several years as I've gotten older, and I'm continuing to work on that. That is a very big topic for another time. I've touched on that topic in some other podcasts. I know it's harder for some people. I know it's easy for some people. If you're one of these guys like me who have slower metabolisms and you love eating food, this is something you have to work on. This is something that can be harder. But again, no fucking excuses. Do the best you can. If I ate whatever I felt like, I would be 400 pounds right now. I would barely be able to move. But because I focus on this as much as I can, imperfectly, but I do it, I've kept my body fat down, and I need to continue to do that, especially as I get older. The more body fat you have in your body, and every doctor will tell you this, the more it screws up your hormonal panel, okay? So do the best you can. I know it's hard. Believe me, I know. If you want details on how to optimize your body, which ties in directly to this, I mentioned that video before. You should watch that video right here on how to optimize your body, which will help your hormonal panel, and I'll see you in that video.